Welcome to Blackfeather Guild. Before we go in and say hi to the cast and get started with the show, I wanted to talk very briefly about viewer actions and a little bit about sponsors. So first off, there's a number of ways that you can actually actively participate in the show through viewer actions. One of the easiest ways to do so is through retweeting the game tweet. You should see that somewhere in chat if it's not in there already. But you just click on that link and hit retweet, and for every 5 retweets that we get on that, it will add a bonus to the cast pool and the game master pool. Now, in most cases, that's going to be an extra d6 that they can add on to any roll. Basically, a great way to use that is if a player is almost meeting a DC, but they're just not quite there, they can grab one of those d6s from the cast pool, roll that, and then add that to their roll. Basically, is how that works. Same with the GM. So that's one of the easiest ways that you can participate that way. Another way is through guild coins. That's our Twitch channel points. If you look at the rainbow colored icon, it should have the Blackfeather Guild crest on it. It should be right below your Twitch chat box. If you click on that, it'll show you all the different things that you can get with those. The biggest one being plot points. Now, plot points, you can see an example right over here. They all work pretty much the same way. It's just a matter of how big of an impact they have. So for the example, when we've got 2 plot points, the player of your choice gets something moderately helpful or unhelpful. Enter any suggestions for the GM into chat, or you can have the GM come up with something entirely on their own. So just choose if you want it to be helpful or unhelpful to the party, and that's kind of how you can use them. You can throw in your own suggestions as well. How those work: 1 plot point is something trivially helpful or unhelpful. 2 is moderately, 3 is very, and 4 is very to the entire party. So if you want to do something to help the entire party or really throw a monkey wrench in their plans, 4 plot points will do that. So that's guild coins. And then finally, we've got donations. So if you want to help out with keeping the lights on in the place, so to speak, there's a number of ways that you can financially contribute. One of those being coffee.com/Raven or Raven.rocks. You can see both of those examples down there at the bottom. Those are the addresses to do direct donations. You can also do Twitch subscriptions or bits. Those work the same way. And then finally, Patreon. We've got a Patreon, which you should see in chat here any second if it's not there already. And our Bard tier patrons and higher get credits towards viewer actions every month that they can use on any show that they would like. You just have to let us know in chat how you want to spend those, and then we'll hand those out. So, some very cool stuff. Before we hop over to see the cast, one last thing to mention is a couple things on this chart here. We've already covered the d6 and the plot points, but the triple crits, what that means is you can gift auto critical successes. And you can, it's triple because you get 3. You can divvy those out however you'd like. You can do 2 to the cast, 1 to the game master, all of them to the game master, however you want to do it. So they work much like the d6s. The cast members just grab that when they're available and they really need them and use them. So it's pretty cool. And then finally, the last one, introduce an ally or enemy NPC. Just give us a brief description of what you want this character to look like, kind of their character concept and a name, and let us know if you want it to be an enemy or an ally to the party, and the GM will basically take that and run with it. So really cool ways that you can participate. Lastly, I just want to take a quick moment to mention our sponsors. If you look at the logos down below, that's who's sponsoring this episode, and we'll talk a little bit about that before we introduce everybody as well on the next scene. So yeah, check all this stuff out and thank them for supporting us, and thank you for being here and watching. Let's go say hi to the cast. Hello, and we are back with another episode of Exodus the Sunken City. I am very excited to see what happens tonight with our characters and, of course, excuse me, what Vanessa's going to throw at us. Before we jump into all action, though, giving everybody a chance to introduce themselves so we can learn a little bit about them and their characters. I guess I'm in the top left, so I'll start. I'm Raven. I'm the creative director for the Raven Evermore, which includes a whole ton of different things from tabletop design, game master, streaming, as you see here, voice acting, just tons of stuff. Um, and then I play Niklaus Sebastian Adama, who also has a sort of Hyde side to Niklaus's Jekyll, which is Klaus. Um, but we haven't seen much of Klaus yet. Um, and Klaus comes out like when Niklaus is stressed or is dealing with some like cane withdrawal type symptoms. So I imagine we'll see more of Klaus as the game goes on. So it should be very interesting. But Niklaus is not the bad guy, but he's definitely not a good guy. Sort of a rich, conniving, power-hungry type of character.
Abby's favorite kind of guy.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
And interestingly enough, seems to be fond of Bambi, or at least outwardly is showing that. Inwardly, maybe thinks Bambi might be useful, and that's why he's showing her attention.
Thanks, I
yeah.
hate it.
Yeah. So Niklaus is not a good guy at all. He's a bad guy, which will be a lot of fun to play in this. And that's me and Niklaus. I'll pass it on to Yasmin, and tell us a little bit about Bambi and yourself.
Bambi is this group's bimbo. She is a very cane addicted, washed up starlet who came to Exodus with stars in her eyes, and for quite some time she was the talk of the town. But as things changed and Exodus changed, she slowly became what she is now, which is a petty, regrettably still very attractive younger adult who really has it out for Vixen and will do anything to climb her social ladder.
Awesome.
I think you need to be a little bit nicer to Bambi. I think she's smarter than you give her credit for.
Oh, she is smarter. I'm just describing her from the audience's point of view. Y'all don't know her yet.
Then again, I also have a lot more faith in Bambi just because I love her so much. So that could just be love blindness on my part. Maybe some
red flags.
But yes, we love Bambi.
I'm glad. And then I'm Yasmin. I should have started with this. And I am a graphic artist and illustrator. I primarily do tabletop game art. Today is the second to last day for the coupon sale on my website. And you can find me Friday morning. That's for the end of the game. That's it, guys. I told you my brain's mush today.
It's okay.
No, you're good. That's excellent.
Yeah, and then next, Rowan, tell us a little bit about Pepper Ann McGillicuddy and yourself.
Hello, I'm Rowan North. I'm a freelance illustrator and art educator. And I play Pepper Ann McGillicuddy, who came from basically one of the families, the people that you would know of the know in Exodus. And kind of has taken her grandfather's, place after her grandfather died. She's a little nutter butter, and has a special connection to Borzoi, one white and one black, named after two different gods of war. So, yeah.
Good stuff.
And then next we've got Riley playing Sid. Tell us a little bit about you and Sid.
Hi, I'm Riley. I play Sid. Sid is Niklaus's ward / apprentice. She doesn't really have a lot of great, like, she doesn't really understand social cues. She morality is kind of a gray area to her. She doesn't really understand the difference between right and wrong. So that works perfectly to be Niklaus's apprentice. And yeah.
Yay.
Awesome.
Awesome. And last but not least, Vanessa, tell us a little bit about
Hello.
yourself.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Vanessa. I am the GM of this game, and I play everybody else in the world, which right now is limited to Anastasia. She is she's the woman who greeted the topsiders when they first made their way down in the bathysphere, when they first got into the city. And right now, she is their only friend. So you guys better be nice to her, or else she'll leave you high and dry. But I'm Vanessa. I am primarily a traditional artist. I work in watercolor and pencil sketch most of the time, but I'm also getting more so into digital art these days, which has been super fun. And yeah, so that's me. So last episode, goodness, it was so long ago, we ended off with the whole gang together in the apartments. We went through Adonis Plaza and we came to the working and lower class apartments. And Anastasia took the group up to an apartment, which she ushered them inside and made sure that the door was locked real tight. And when everybody was settled, you guys heard a little voice. And a little girl came running out, if I remember correctly. And we last left off with Anastasia picking her up, and you guys getting a good look at her in her tattered little dress.
Pepper
with little
firmly remembers that it was a kitten, not a little girl.
Excellent. So yes, it was a kitten for Pepper, but for the rest of you, it was indeed a little girl with glowing eyes. Her eyes glow. And yeah, so that's where we left off. Is anybody going to say anything about that, or you guys just going to gloss over it?
Bambi's like, yeah, okay.
I mean, I think one of the last things I said last time was literally Pepper exclaiming, "Oh, what a cute kitten."
I love it.
I think Niklaus will have a little facial tick, and then sort of waltz over to Anastasia and the child, in sort of a fluid motion, and sort of lean down and look at the child's eyes. Just like, that is fascinating. Causes her eyes to glow like that.
Anastasia's eyes narrow a fraction. She clearly looks like she doesn't like a stranger being this close to the little girl in her arms. And she kind of holds the little one a little bit tighter. And she steps back away from you, but in a way to kind of like motion everybody in. So if you're skilled enough to notice, it's more so a protection thing. But then she tries to make it look not so obvious by waving everybody to come into more so into the apartment rather than just stand in the doorway. And she doesn't answer you yet. She just keeps her eyes on you and kind of nods her chin in the direction that she wants you to go.
Would a intuition roll let me know if it looks like words are hard? Would an intuition roll work for figuring out that she's being protective but trying to look like it was part of the process of moving people in?
Sure, why not? Let's see.
Pepper's gonna roll that too because she definitely noticed. Nope, Pepper has no idea. She's like, "Oh, look, a butterfly."
It has like a tray of tools that
is that a pigeon
pulled out of one of the bags to like hand over to Niklaus.
Tools?
Yeah, like to see if he wanted to take any samples.
Oh.
Okay. So
Uh-oh.
15 to notice.
You get kind of a sense that it's not just her being welcoming to her home, but it's not anything alarming or anything like that. You just kind of notice that there's something a little more under the surface than she's letting on, but it's not like she's hiding some big secret or anything like that.
Okay. Then Niklaus is just going to sort of stand back up from sort of leaning forward. Seems like someone's a bit jumpy. No, Sid, we don't. That won't be necessary right now.
So Artemis and Hearn probably are all over that little girl, though. They're just like so happy.
Nuffling. They are nuffling her.
Yeah, they're all wagging their really gigantically long tails because dudes. I don't know if you're very familiar with Russian wolf hands, but their tails are like the length of their body long, if not more. They're gigantic and just super fluffy and just like long sleeve. Borzois are gorgeous. Anyways, but they're waggling those gigantic tails of theirs, and they curl a little and just snuffling her. Yeah.
Anastasia doesn't like shoo them away or anything, but she looks at them wearily. But the little girl in her arms is like squealing.
She's delighted.
She's having such a good time. Like, I don't know if she's really ever seen dogs. So this is just something brand new to her, and she's having a great time. She's like wiggling in Anastasia's arms and like reaching for the puppos, and like she looks like she's happy.
Cute.
Oh, look, friends. They made a friend.
The only thing that Bambi is really doing is she looks actually really comfortable and almost thoughtful. Like she's like, I don't know if I've been here or not, but this feels like I've been here, so sure.
So go ahead.
Following the wolfhounds, Pepper does step in. She's not concerned about them like misbehaving or taking a snap at her or anything, but she just likes being close to her doggo. So she's in the apartment now.
Okay. Niklaus?
I was just saying, Niklaus went inside.
Okay, cool. So yeah, everybody kind of gets situated in the apartment itself. A lot of wear and tear, a lot of age showing here, but it seems to be relatively well kept. This is clearly where Anastasia lives, so the place itself is neat and things seem to be well taken care of. She does make sure that the doors are firmly locked. She's got a few different like makeshift locks that she's put up herself just to make sure that door is extra secure. Even though she's well aware that if something big enough and concerned enough wanted to break through the door easily, it absolutely could. But for the most part, it does keep out the crazy citizens of the city, and usually they don't really bother enough to try and get into a door that's firmly locked. So it works for her so far, and she seems to be more relaxed once everything is shut down and she knows that it's good.
I don't think I've ever seen a kitten without their big bears.
Bears?
Guardians? They're bears.
Yes. Okay. Okay, darling. Bears, yes.
Bambi just goes, woohoo! And is like poking around in your personal things.
It doesn't seem to bother Anastasia too much, just as long as she's not, taking anything. It's fine.
Should I roll for that?
Does she plan on stealing?
Only if she has really nice things,
No, it's more so survival stuff. It's like
then she'd
she
have
might
no
have like,
interest in
yeah,
it.
it's more so like maybe she's got a few bandages and stuff tucked around. There's nothing like of insane value or anything like that. It's very workable stuff. It's just regular stuff. Yeah. So once everything's locked down, she puts the little girl down and takes her by the hand, and the little girl's eyes are still glued to the dogs, like she's so excited. But Anastasia walks with the girl in and kind of like waits until everybody gets situated. If you guys want to take chairs or stand or whatever it is, she waits for everybody to settle in. And then she kind of stands there and just looks at you guys in silence for a moment. And she just doesn't say anything. She just kind of looks at each one of you as if she's trying to memorize things about you and kind of get a feel for who you are as people. And then she sighs. And it's the kind of sigh that like she knows that this is what she has to work with and she's going to have to make it work, or else there's no other option. So she gives you guys a once over, and kind of settles back against a little coffee table or a little kind of dining table. And she looks at Niklaus and Sid first. And she gives you like a stern look and says, well, I suppose you must have some questions. Now would be a good time to ask them.
Excuse me.
Yes, where can I put these down?
Poor Sid. Still carrying all this stuff. She just kind of waves you to a little side area where you can just put stuff. It's nothing interesting, just a little side area.
Well, I think the most obvious question would be, how to delicately put this. What the fuck? With the city?
She kind of smiles a little bit despite herself. Like clearly up until this point, she has not really thought too much of Niklaus, just by her body language alone. So the fact that kind of gets a little chuckle from her is it's not anything to shake a stick at, but she quickly sobers up, and she says, perhaps I should start from beginning and tell you everything that has led us to this point.
That sounds appropriate.
Bam just claps.
Story time.
I mean, like, I can help tell stories if you need. I mean, I guess I might have a different perspective than you, but
Bambi just looks over and very rudely goes, shh.
Bambi's just here for story time, okay? Yeah, so Anastasia kind of nods, and it's more to herself than anything, like she's preparing. And while she is very serious looking, the little girl like twirls like around, like, you know, when your parents would like stick their hand out, you'd twirl around it. It's kind of what she's doing. But it doesn't seem to faze Anastasia at all. Like this is just normal stuff. So she settles in and she says, well, I wasn't very old when I came to the city. The city has been here for about 10 years. I was 22 when I first came here, and everything was good. It was a lovely place. You know, it was the way it was marketed to us was that this was a place where dreams could come true. You could do anything that you wanted to do in Exodus. And for a while, that is the way that it was. I was just fresh out of school. I was a nurse. And I came down here with my husband, and for a while it was good. And the one thing that was most important was that this be a place that science could be pursued without fear of persecution from any type of moral law that was present on the top side. So there weren't very many laws that dictated, things like morality. That wasn't an issue here. Anything that science could do, they were hell-bent on doing it. The same thing with the arts. Artists were encouraged to do what they did best and to help the city grow through music and art, things like that. And like I said, for a very long time, for years, that was the way it was, and people were relatively happy until science kind of got a little too far ahead of itself. And I know that Bambi and Pepper know this story very well.
Well, I can share.
Yes, darling. You just I'll finish my train of thought so that I do not forget.
Okay,
and then
sorry.
You can supplement the story. Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds good. But yeah, so science was of very much importance to the people who ran the city, and eventually they found a substance called cane. And cane is that nasty little fucker that is responsible for the state of being of those poor, wretched little bastards that we had the misfortune of running into on our way here. So you see, cane was a very addictive substance, and nobody really knew that until the side effects started coming through. And as a nurse, I worked for a doctor named Dr. Blumenthal, and so I got to see firsthand, under his supervision, what the symptoms were of these addictions and how it completely destroyed people from the inside out. It's something that occurs on a genetic level, and they had geneticists working on this shit that would be put into people's system, and it went downhill very quickly. And I knew very early on that this was a problem that could not be fixed so simply. And even Dr. Blumenthal was not immune to that. And so as I worked by his side, I slowly started to see these side effects manifest in him too, until I couldn't work with him anymore. He was dangerous. He was supposed to help people, but all he did was hurt them. And so ever since then, the people have become addicted to the substance, and there was cause for lots of tension between people, not even necessarily between social classes, which was a problem, as you can imagine, but people who needed this substance to continue to live their lives without going insane, and they could no longer get access to the substance. And so the result is what you've seen already. And that is, in fact, why I was hoping that instead of luggage, you were going to bring guns. And she kind of casts a glance over to where Sid has put up the luggage.
I have a gun.
Yes, my darling, you do.
Interjects with pardon me. Must have inhaled some of that smoke from earlier. Well, it sounds like it's quite the utopia before someone as they say, stepped in it and messed things up.
It had its bad parts, like all places do, but for the most part, yes, it was a peaceful place to be for a few years.
And they've made no progress with reversing the effects?
Of course not, silly.
Anastasia looks like there's more to it than that. And she looks like she's debating on how detailed she wants to go, especially because she does cast a look at Niklaus, seeing as he's the one who's like asking questions. That makes her a little bit wary of him, especially because he's from the top. So she's not quite sure how much she needs to divulge versus like what after that is he just fishing for. So she looks a little bit like, how much do I really have to say?
So Pepper actually is willing to step in at this point, and she says, well, you've got to understand that the cane, it comes from worms, water worms. And
Sandy just
you make a face, but we all take it.
She rolls her eyes at you.
But it came from, deep sea little critters. That's what Papa would say. And there's been it wasn't all bad, not at first, and I wouldn't say it's all bad even now. The problem is that, well, it comes from really rare, scary worms, and, well, that's kind of why it became scarce. And also, money is, well, an issue for a lot of people, especially those who weren't as blessed as a few of us to be in better circumstances. It's complicated. It was very complicated, and now it just, well, that there's some of the people said we never should have messed with the worms in the first place, but
Sandy loudly scoffs at this. She's like, please, you can't tell me that you don't enjoy it just as much as I enjoy it.
I mean,
they all enjoyed it too, and now they're down on their luck, and they just, boo-hoo, take it away.
Well, as enlightening as that was, and he's looking at Pepper. It sounds like you found something that worked pretty well. Seemed to benefit everyone quite a lot. Discovered too late that it does bad things, and then failed to find a solution. So ultimately, it sounds like the problem was improper management and testing.
well,
Anastasia
yes.
kind of raises an eyebrow at you.
But he just got so everybody just got so excited because all of a sudden we could have superpowers. And, well, who doesn't want to be a superhero?
Superhero, yes, that's super. Well, assuming you're the one in charge, and he's looking at Anastasia, I'm sure we could coordinate something. I could bring resources in here to properly research the substance and find a much needed cure for all these
Wait,
poor
wait,
people.
wait, 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 wait. You
And-
said bring in?
One sec, like, because as he's saying that, he moves over to Bambi and like puts an arm around her shoulder as he says, "These poor people," and then looks to Pepper and
I
goes,
know.
"Oh well, yes, I have access to boats. I'm sure I could
No,
scrounge up a
it's
submersible."
When Niklaus mentions bringing people down, that gets like an incredulous laugh from Anastasia, and it's a lot more forceful than any of like the half-hearted kind of just responses that she's given. Like she can't believe her fucking ears kind of laugh, right? And she looks at Niklaus and her eyes widen a little bit, like she just can't believe this bullshit. And she goes, "I'm sorry, bring people down here. The whole point of sending out the SOS signal all this time has been to get out of the city. We don't need to bring more people down here and do the exact same thing that happened the first time. I don't think so."
Well, yes, bring people in, take people out. We can do both things, and of course the same thing wouldn't happen because we'd have proper supervision this time.
She like slams her hand down on the table that she's leaning on, and she points a finger in Niklaus's face. She doesn't move any closer. She just points like towards his face, and her voice lowers, and she just goes, "Abso-fucking-lutely not."
Well, I'm surprised. This is all rather sudden. I'm sure this is something that we can discuss and negotiate later. Doesn't have to be decided now.
But
Also, thank you to Michael for that $3 tip donation, with the suggestion being a bell with bullet holes in it is found by someone. So that's for 1 plot point there, Vanessa.
A bell, like ding ding bell.
Yes, I believe so. I'm assuming like a handbell that has bullet holes in it,
All right,
Huh,
sounds
okay.
good.
or maybe like the doorbell, like the literal door bell, where when you open the door, it hits the bell and it jingles.
oh yeah.
Okay.
Although I think
Perhaps.
Anastasia would be smart enough to take a doorbell down.
Yes, there are definitely no bells in her house, so we'll
Bambi at
probably
like
find
4
some.
a.m. Ding, 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 ding.
For God's sake, Bambi's just a cat. That's it.
Yes.
Yes.
I do not disagree with it.
100%. Might be named after a deer, but she's cat. But Pepper also gives Niklaus kind of this alarmed look, and she's like, "But you also don't understand. We can't leave. That's the problem."
Why can't you leave?
Anastasia
well-
kind of pinches the bridge of her nose.
Was I not supposed to say that?
No. So Anastasia just pinches the bridge of her nose, and then when Pepper says that, she kind of just sighs and tries to compose herself again. And she looks at Niklaus, and she says, "No, Pepper is quite right. There's a little problem in that plan of yours. And that is the reason, of course, that I have been sending out SOS signal is
Dictatorship.
that..."
Sorry.
Yes. She like looks at Pepper and does that thing, when your mom looks at you when you're in public, and you know that she can't beat your ass at the time because you're in public.
Yeah,
It's a
she
little
kind of-
reminiscent of that. It's very,
She kind
very
of clamps
mom.
up a little, where she's just like, "Sorry."
And then she turns back to Niklaus. Yes, we do have a bit of a problem with someone who is preventing us from leaving, and that is why I needed reinforcements. So we have to come up with a proper game plan to be able to get out of here. We can't just continue to bring people in. That's not how this works. There are still people here who, I guess, for a lack of a better way to describe it, are in charge.
And those people are not you, clearly.
Bambi like really softly giggles in the corner.
And Niklas, who still has his arm around Bambi's shoulder, unless she's moved his arm.
No,
okay.
Still there.
Just sort of shoots Bambi like this sort of cocky grin that looks very uncharacteristic from what you all have seen of Niklas so far.
Okay. Is it safe to say that in Bambi's eyes, Mr. Castillo would be the one in charge? Or
in her eyes, yes, probably.
okay.
Is that the reality? Probably not. But to her, that would be yes.
I mean, Castillo may or may not be her world as she knows it, so.
And Pepper, the only thing that she would know of John Castillo is that I would say probably her grandfather would have known him. He does some shady shit, and that's probably all she knows.
So Pepper's, probably seen big names come in and out, but probably does not remember them very well. She just knows that there is a dictator that's keeping them all in and controlling the animals, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
That horrible penis potato. But yes, there is one person in charge. Dictator? Penis potato?
Oh. I was so lost. I'm
one.
like, where did that come from? Excuse me, who's a penis potato?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, oh goodness, I'm all turned around. Who was the last
Sorry.
one to say something
Bambi last
useful?
Bambi last giggled, and I think the last person to say something was Anastasia.
Well-
Right, because she did the mom look.
Yes.
Yeah, because Pepper
Um,
went dictator when
Yeah.
Niklaus asked, "Why can't you come out?"
Yes, right. And Anastasia said, "Well, as you can tell, there is somebody else in charge." So
Right,
I
which is
suppose.
Clearly not you. Yes.
And
Well, if you think that it was me, don't you think I would be long gone by now?
Well, I mean, I couldn't say as to your constitution for sticking things out or running away, so.
You know,
Don't
for a
know you
man
that
with
well.
with a very smooth vocabulary, you sure are pretty fucking stupid. And then she turns away from Niklaus.
Pepper's
And she
there
looks-
like, I'm not laughing.
And Niklas, just under his breath, sort of quietly, Bambi could probably hear, but that's about it, would be like, clearly the latter.
Bambi is just gonna pat Niklaus's shoulder and just be like, "It's fine, darling. I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody." We could go talk to my baby Castillo, and I'm sure he'll help us out.
So Bambi says Castillo. And Niklaus, this is a name you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do I know about this name?
So John Castillo was the man that would have. Did we not discuss this? I meant to discuss this with you. I'm pretty
We
sure we
may
talked
have-
about this.
You
Yeah.
probably did,
Re-
and I just can't remember.
Yes. So I will refresh you, and now everybody else gets to have that little piece of story. So I did mention in session 0 that Niklaus's colleague got sent down to the city, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the guy,
So John,
he's the guy that sent the thing?
yes, John is the guy that you go to when you want to send things places. He was the guy who would sneak things into the city, contraband, sell it. If you needed something, you went to John Castillo, basically. So Niklaus would have been in contact with John, as it would have been his men that would have brought the colleagues, packages and things like that topside for Niklaus. Now, you've never met John Castillo in person. It's always just been his guys, but you do know the name John Castillo. You know that this is the man that has been smuggling your stuff up. But you also know that you lost contact with him for a very long time before finding the SOS signal to come down. So you haven't heard from him in a long time, but you do know him,
Okay.
or know of him. Yeah.
In that case, Niklaus will look down to Bambi and say, "My, well, aren't you the resourceful one? I would love to go talk to my good friend John."
And her eyes light up and she's like, "Oh, you know my Johnny?"
How loud are you guys being? Because you're in a tiny living room.
Bambi is loud as fuck.
Niklaus is being quiet, but I imagine Bambi's loud.
So Bambi says, "Oh my God, you know my darling Johnny," and Anastasia is immediately like ashen. Like any color that was in her face, absolutely gone at the mention of Castillo's name.
And meanwhile, Pepper's like, "Oh, look, a bell."
It is just taking notes of everything in like a very raggedy notebook, noticeably like much worse off than Niklaus's. Just like looks like she had just grabbed a bunch of scraps from the floor and just put together a notebook.
I love her. She's so diligent.
Something.
Yeah, Anastasia kind of looks like she bounces out of reality for a second. She's very much in her own thoughts. And the color is very, very slow to come back to her face. And she looks very put off by the mention of knowing John Castillo. But she shakes her head and kind of brings herself back to the conversation at hand. And she looks from person to person. And she says, "Well, we have to come up with a game plan to be able to get the resources that we need. I would have done this myself, but like I've told you, there are things here that cannot be done by one person alone. And it didn't really occur to me to go knocking door to door to see if people like Bambi or Pepper were mentally stable enough to help me perform my tasks. So I'm sure you can understand."
I suppose so, though one does think maybe some of this could have been sent in the message. Might have changed my luggage choices.
You can't just bring us here and not tell us what we need.
Bambi just laughs and she says, "Baby,
How-
darling, this is the city of Exodus. Everything you need is here. All we gotta do is find it."
So she actually starts looking between everyone, Pepper does, and it's like, "Wait, how were you able to send a message out in the first place? Why aren't you in trouble? Are we in trouble?"
"Yes, my love, we are in trouble. That's why we need to leave."
Oh, well, I mean, that makes sense, but you're especially in trouble? Are they looking for you?
To my knowledge, I haven't seen anybody come specifically for me yet, but I wouldn't rule it out. Something definitely that we should be mindful of.
That sounds like a statement usually followed by a per se.
Is that like a tiny purse?
Yes, it's exactly what that means.
Why
Oh,
would you tell
goodness.
her that? I'm going to pick up a purse now, and she's gonna say per se.
Oh goodness. Okay, so while you guys are having this this little conversation about purses, tiny purses, you hear what sounds like something very large and very solid pound on a wall nearby. And it sends tremors through the apartment. Like this is something very large.
Is that a bear?
And it's just it's just boom, 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 three very large sounds. And then the little girl at Anastasia's feet starts to giggle and get very excited. And she looks at Anastasia and she goes, Mommy, I think it's Mr. Snuggles. Can I go play? And Anastasia looks down at her and she's very concerned. Like she has this look of concern on her face, and glances between everybody who's in the living room, as if she doesn't want to physically let go of the little girl's hand, even so much as in this little space. But the little girl starts tugging on her hand. She's like, Mommy, let me go. I want to go see Mr. Snuggles. And Anastasia lets go of her hand. And the little girl giggles and she takes off and disappears into another room. And you hear again, like this big knocking sound. And instead of getting 3 solid knocks, there's 2. And then you can hear like this kind of wailing noise from whatever creature is outside, and then an answering giggle, and there's no final knock. And then footsteps start to go, and they get quieter and quieter. And all this time, Anastasia remains quiet as well. But when Pepper says, "Is that a bear?" She looks over and she nods once.
Then you
Certainly
shouldn't be
seems-
too worried.
Certainly seems like something that would be unbearable to be around.
Bambi just laughs like it's the funniest fucking thing she's heard all day long.
Anastasia rubs her temples a little bit. But yeah, so they hear the footsteps start to retreat, and eventually there's nothing. And with her hand now free, Anastasia kind of like awkwardly crosses her hands over her chest, as if she's got nothing else to do with her hands, and she's just kind of she just tucks them up, and she sighs again, and she looks at everybody and says, well, considering that I'm the only one here who is armed, aside from Pepper, perhaps we should go get some things to protect ourselves. And the
Well,
little one is taken care of, so that's one less worry on my mind.
I mean, this is it, right? This is where wanting to leave for good, right?
And that's the plan, yes.
So my papa's things really shouldn't matter too much, right?
The practical part of me wants to say that we shouldn't be taking anything that isn't absolutely of utmost importance, but I can understand if they hold some sentimental value to you.
No, you don't understand. He has weapons.
Well, if I had
Good
to leave the
weapons?
chest sets behind, I can't see why we would need some dusty old books or things like that.
Yes, well, he was a hunter, and granted, I took the big boy rifle elephant gun, but he has plenty of other ones.
Are
Ones
they
that
functioning?
weren't. I mean, this is functional, and she kind of hefts the elephant gun a little.
I mean, I suppose, yes, it shouldn't be too far to get to the other set of apartment buildings. I do have a little stash nearby that we can pick from first, and then perhaps we can go and try to find whatever else your grandfather had.
Well,
Yes, well, I think it would be useful. I don't know. I mean, he didn't bring all his hunting things with him, but he was quite the sentimentalist. He had sentiment in a lot of the old days, glory days of his hunts and bringing all that with him. So,
yes, nostalgia and all that sounds delightful. We should probably get going on this little adventure. We're going to go.
Anastasia shoots him another glance, but nods. And makes her way to the front door again, starts unlocking everything.
Okay.
Pepper's like, she actually looks around to see if there's like a mouse hole or something, or if there's mice or rats nearby.
I would say, with the ruin of everything, probably. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if rats were brought down from like shipments on the dock and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Yeah, so probably.
So
yeah.
I think she's going to use her power to actually check to see if the coast is clear before the doors open.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sure.
So she's like, wait, 1 second. And focuses. What do I roll? For man's best friend.
That's a good question. I cannot remember. That's a good question because I don't actually have anything else for other animals because obviously her mind would be in tune with her dogs. So I never actually require you to do that because they're her dogs. So in that case,
I mean, I could do intuition.
I'm gonna get you to do skillfulness.
Okay.
Yeah, because she's trying to use that plasmid ability on creatures, right? On nearby creatures. Is that,
on a rat. So
yeah. So let's see how well she's able to do that with skillfulness.
15. So I rolled 14 plus 1.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I'd say there's probably a rat close enough to the little opening that she doesn't have to reach very far for it.
So she holds out a hand to Anastasia. It's like, wait, but don't open the door yet. And then she like turns her head to the side, and this rat just goes suddenly like stiff, and then just ducks through the hole. And Pepper seems pretty zoned out.
I'm gonna get you to roll awareness for me.
Sure.
Let's see how well this little mouse does under Pepper's supervision.
Same thing, 15.
15?
No, 14 plus 1.
Yeah, as far as the rat can tell, there's nothing in the immediate area. It doesn't feel anybody walking around. This little stretch of hallway that it's in, there's nobody immediately there. So, yeah.
All right. Well, then in that case, she drops the control of it, just making sure that like taking long enough to kind of see around and feel around. And then she drops it and she just shakes her head a little, wipes her nose a little. She's got a little bit of blood dripping down. And she's just like, okay, you can open the door now.
Anastasia does not ask any questions. But just also be mindful that you have 3 uses left on that plasmid.
Yep.
And she, yeah.
Niklaus is going to lean down and look at Bambi after seeing, Pepper's nose bleeding and go, so does she ingest a lot of white powder through her nose?
Bambi does like this terrible like oh, sweetheart, we don't do cocaine here. We just do cane.
Right.
Oh no. That was
amazing.
horrible.
I approve.
No.
And I think at that Niklaus is just going to chuckle. that was quite clever.
Anastasia gets through unlocking all of like the makeshift locks that she has in place, and she whirls around and directs her attention to Bambi.
Yeah.
And she looks very stern, and she looks at Bambi and she goes, I'm going to have to ask you to be mindful of your volume while we are trying to sneak around.
oh.
Anastasia rolls her eyes.
I think that means, what? Shut the fuck up. Sorry if that's rude. I think that's what people say.
That is incredibly rude.
I think that's what people say.
Anastasia goes
what
from
radio
rolling her
stations
eyes
down here?
to like she
Radio
looks at
station?
Sid, and she looks quizzically at Sid.
Sid just like holds up their little radio, their little hand radio, like
So wholesome.
Anastasia looks confused for a moment. She's like, well, once upon a time we did have a local radio station, but I would guess that it's been in disrepair for a long time. I don't really know.
There was like six radio stations. There was one that was like news, and then there was one that was like more jazz, and one that was more lounge singer, and then there was like
on that radio station.
There is some merit to lounge music for sure.
fine. I'll just
Bambi, upon thinking too hard about lounge music.
uh-oh.
Oh no.
I'm not going to make you roll anything, but I'm just going to plant that seed there. You're thinking about lounge music now, and you're thinking about lounges.
Vixen.
I'm just going to leave that to you to decide how strongly you're thinking about lounge singers, but it's a seed that I've planted there, so you can play with that.
All right.
Yeah, so Anastasia has gone from rolling her eyes to rolling her eyes and shaking her head. And just, she, in her mind, is like, God, I'm absolutely fucked. What have I done?
What have you done?
Yeah, that is truly the question, friends. What is happening? So she opens the door and she sticks her head out hesitantly. She doesn't know that, oh, excuse me. I think it's time for me to go to bed. She doesn't know what Pepper has done. So she does have this confirmation from Pepper that it's okay to open the door, but she has no idea why it's okay to open the door. So she's still very cautious. But she kind of pokes her head out into the hallway and looks up and down. And true to form, there is nobody in the hall. So she does open the door. She comes back in and closes the door a little bit first, and then takes a pistol out of the side of her waistband and checks it and makes sure that everything is good and she is ready for a battle. Would have been a little pistol that she had picked up from one of the side tables when she came in, just because she was using a pipe before, and that's not going to cut it anymore because she was doing really poorly with it. So she picks up that little pistol from the side table and she checks it and puts it back in her waistband. And then she opens the door again, and she slips out very quietly and assumes that you guys are going to follow her.
So Pepper is probably like the first one there. She hops up, the dogs hop up, and yeah, she follows after Anastasia. She seems much less like wary because she has already checked beforehand that, the coast is clear.
Right. What about you guys?
So she seems way more casual, and when she sees like Anastasia all kind of riled up, she's like, "Oh no, it's perfectly fine."
Anastasia is not as wound up as she was on the way over here, but she doesn't take Pepper completely as law. She doesn't lose all of that tension. She's still looking out for herself.
Bambi's humming to herself and just is like, la-di-da, let's go.
Oh, by the way, I found this bell. It has gunshots in it. Shotguns.
Bambi's
shells.
going to
Bullets. Holes.
try and pluck it out of your hands and give it a little ting, ting, ting.
Well, I don't think it works if it's filled with holes.
Oh. But I could try.
Anastasia turns around and looks at you guys again. And it's like, to her, this is like one of those cartoons where like cartoon characters are trying to sneak and then everybody in the line behind them is like stomping and breaking glass and stuff. So she just whirls around and she glares daggers at Bambi. And she's like, "What did I ask you in the house?"
Bambi just shrugs and is like, "Oh, I'll be quiet now," and tucks the bell in her bra.
You can keep it.
I rolled to see how stealthy Sid is being.
Yeah. What'd you get?
21.
Yes. So Sid is doing exactly as Anastasia asked and not being an asshole. So much so that she actually kind of forgets that she's there a little bit. So keep up the good work, Sid.
I suppose Niklas will also try to be quiet.
Sure.
With a 17.
Yeah, you're doing pretty well. There's no like huge panes of glass that you're accidentally shattering or anything like that.
Crunch.
Eating like raw carrots and making horrible noise or anything like that.
Or playing the sneaking song.
Oh god.
Yes. Yeah. Bambi and
around.
Pepper.
Yeah.
If you guys actually do want to roll, if Bambi is going to, oh no, what did you get?
15.
Bambi. Bambi.
I keep rolling like 13 or 14, so I keep on just getting 15. So, oh no, Bambi.
Okay, so Pepper is good. She's keeping up. She's not whisper soft. It's not like Anastasia has forgotten that she's there, or she's not like a gust of wind, but she's doing well. Bambi, on the other hand,
Bambi's trying too hard, guys.
Bambi comes out into the hallway, and luckily, or perhaps unfortunately enough, some of the decor in this little space for the apartments is still intact. So there's this beautiful little side table that still has like a pretty hefty little ornamental vase on it. And Bambi, God love her heart, trying to be very stealthy, picking up her skirts and trying to sneak along. steps on her own dress, stumbles, knocks into the ornamental vase, which falls on the ground and makes a huge clattering noise.
Crash.
Could Niklaus try to catch her and or the vase before it crashes?
Yeah, roll a swiftness for me.
All right. 12.
No, you do not get the vase in time. It does still clatter to the ground and make a very large noise.
All right.
Anastasia stops exactly where she is ahead of the group, and she doesn't even turn around this time. You can just see it radiating off of her like stink lines in a cartoon. Like she is just ready to kill you all herself.
Bambi like sniffles a little bit, and with big glassy eyes she says, I'm sorry, I'm just trying. I'm not very good at this.
You can
You been eaten yet?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Anastasia takes a moment. She doesn't respond. And then just very quietly, she doesn't even turn around to look at Bambi. Like, she's just so disappointed in her. She just goes, try harder.
Bambi wipes her cheeks and gets up.
My God, we bring fiasco wherever we go. So Anastasia leads you guys down the hall a little bit, past a couple of other apartments in the complex, and then uses the toe of her boot to open a door. And it's not locked or anything, it just swings open. And if you look at the side of the door, it's almost like somebody kicked it open. So all of the side of the door is splintered out. So there's nothing for it to click into, and that's why it's so easy to open it and close it. Like, she just swings it open with her toe. But she steps inside and she leads you guys a little bit further into the apartment. And this one is significantly in more disrepair than Anastasia's apartment. There's clearly nobody living here or anything like that. So it started to rot like everything else. But there's a huge hole in the floor of one of the rooms. And she waits for everybody to come in. And then she starts to lower herself down into the hole.
Do you need
Like it's a rope? No, there's no rope.
No, well, that's just Pepper asking. Do you need rope? Because I have a rope if you need. I just don't want you to get hurt.
In the middle of like lowering herself into this giant hole, Anastasia looks at her and she's like, no, it's not very far at all. We can do it.
Oh, okay.
So she continues to lower herself in.
Thanks so much, Posh, for that 6-person raid.
Yay!
Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, so she disappears into the hole in the floor. Assuming that you guys are gonna follow.
Bambi does. Bambi's just going to like shimmy off the edge and just like as daintily as she can, just like plummet to the floor.
I imagine like this Alice in Wonderland, like her skirt like poofs up and slowly falls. Just like
Yeah, considering Yasmin, you did not ask what the surroundings looked like.
Oh no.
Bambi does not notice that there's like things and wood and pieces of broken furniture piled up along the wall where Anastasia dropped. So like she was able to find footholds and stuff like that to soften her landing. So if she had taken a moment to look instead of jumping straight down a hole, she would have noticed that there was an easier way to get there.
Bambi literally yeets herself off the edge.
Anastasia is not below her to catch her.
Neither is Niklaus.
I was gonna have Niklaus go first and try to catch, Bambi, but Bambi just went at it. So Niklaus is just gonna turn around and get ready to, climb down and help Bambi. And where did she?
She just disappears into the darkness. Ow! What would you like me to roll for damage?
There she is.
Oh, yes, that is a good question. Are you telling me that Bambi just falls straight down and doesn't even have a chance at catching herself, or would you like to roll for it to see?
Roll for it. Am I rolling skillfulness?
Yes, roll me a skillfulness, and we'll see if she can manage to catch herself a little bit.
Okay. Plus 10.
Okay, the landing isn't as loud as it could have been.
That's good.
However, I will ask you to roll a d4 damage because she's landing straight on her high heels.
Sure is.
And I have a feeling that could go very badly for her ankles.
Ow.
She's not feeling so great.
Oh yeah, no, she rolls on her ankles, so she rolls an ankle, and then she stumbles to try and like right herself, and ends up coming right up to that like little foot and handhold path that Anastasia used, and she just cuts her palms right open on those things. Yeah, so she's not doing too great. She takes 4 points of damage.
All right. I am almost a half point for that.
Sid,
Yeah?
would you be a lamb and go down there and assist Miss Darling with recovering from that fall? She may need
Sure
somebody to lean on.
Sure thing. What would I
Help's
roll?
on the way, Bambi.
To go down there,
Yeah,
Riley?
to climb down and try to be quick about it. And
Skillfulness, please.
Pepper just crouches on the edge and whispers loudly to Anastasia.
Nice.
It's like, should we just leave her?
Anastasia looks like she's seriously contemplating it. Riley, what did you get?
9.
9. I'm gonna get you to roll again because you know that the hand and footholds are there, so you're a little bit more prepared. So roll again and see what you do.
Roll with advantage.
A little bit better. You have some stumbles and some scrapes, and you take 1 point of damage, but you get down there and your ankles are fine and all your joints still work. So just a few scratches.
Perfect. And then Sid will grab out her med kit. She only has one, but she'll grab out her med kit to.
So Anastasia sees you going for your med kit, and she holds up a hand to stop you. I did roll for awareness to see if there was anything lying around, and luckily for you, Anastasia is a nurse, which means that she has a plus 11 to medicine. So she sees that there are some like tattered curtains and things. And she is able to find like a bottle of alcohol or something, just like cheap alcohol on like a side table or something like that, just poking out from between two cupboards or something like that. And she's able to rip some bandages. And hold on, let's see just how well. Let's see how well she's able to do with healing Bambi up so that she's not bleeding everywhere. Hold on, I forgot to bring up Anastasia's stats. That would let me see what medicine does. Yeah, so with whatever she finds, she's able to patch Bambi up a little bit. It's not by any stretch what a med kit could do. So obviously, you know, she's not able to do much for Bambi's ankles or anything. You're going to be in a bit of pain for a while, but she's able to clean out those scratches, and the like curtain material that she was able to find was relatively clean enough. So she's able to patch up your hands. You're not bleeding everywhere, and you regain 1 point of health.
Great.
It's not much, but you're in a hole in the ground, so curtains and alcohol is what you have.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll take it.
But yeah, no, Anastasia looks at you, Sid, and she's like, no, you might want to hold on to that until you really need it.
Sid just puts it back in her pocket and then like...
Besides, I think something must be said about the Darwin Award.
Wait, you're giving me a reward?
Yes.
Oh
Yes,
my
I'm so
God.
sorry. Is there anything I can do to help you feel more comfortable?
And there's this look in Bambi's eyes like a full-on predator.
And Sid, like, it's like something switched. Like all of a sudden, they're more friendly. They seem more charismatic. It's like they've turned something on.
Niklaus is just looking down through the hole, so proud.
Bambi over-exaggeratedly takes a step and stumbles, and she's like, oh, would you be a dear and help support my weight? My ankles hurt so much.
Of course, I would love to help you.
And she wraps a tiny little delicate arm over your shoulders and pats your shoulders. She says, oh, thank you.
So at this point, can a pepper have climbed down? Should I roll for that?
Yes.
God.
Yeah, you can roll skillfulness as well.
Ooh, very nice. I got 18.
Yep. So you're good. You make it down there.
Yeah, she
You
just like
successfully use your hand and footholds.
because Pepper was paying attention, and she's
Yeah.
just like, "Are you sure that we shouldn't leave her?"
And under her breath, Anastasia just mutters, well, I'm thinking about it more and more.
Okay.
What's the roll to get down?
Skillfulness, sorry.
Skillfulness, okay. Yeah, 4.
Oh my God, you guys are killing me. You have watched Pepper, this little lady, descend this foot and handholds. You know where they are. I'm going to be nice to you. Roll with advantage. Please roll something better.
I
You
have
know,
a 0 in skillfulness, so it's whatever the die is. 15.
So much better. Okay, so yes, you watch
man.
Pepper. You know where her hands and feet have gone. You know what footholds are stable, and you managed to make it down without rolling your ankles. Congratulations to Niklaus.
Guys, I think Vanessa's ready to kill us.
No, see, this kind of stuff I can forgive a little bit because dice are stupid.
But Bambi eating herself into a hole.
Yeah, Bambi didn't so much as look, didn't ask any questions, nothing, just straight down the hole. So I have no sympathy for Bambi. But
For Bambi's benefit, she did think that Anastasia was like a Mary Poppins figure and just floated down.
Oh my God.
how can I love Bambi so much and hate her so much at the same time?
Because I'm playing her.
You've
Vanessa?
played me for a fool, yes.
It's kind of like Annie.
damn, you right. Damn,
Love Annie
that
to
hit
death.
hard.
Sometimes want to kill Annie.
I didn't know it was this degree, though.
No. Annie's fine. But it's similar.
Oh my god. Oh, that's really funny. I'm not sorry, because that's hilarious. And also, I still love Bambi, so
Yes.
it's all in good fun. Jesus Christ. Okay, so you guys finally make it through the hole in the floor.
We're professionals.
I honestly, like, I'm so flustered, you guys. It shouldn't be this hard to make it through a hole in the floor.
So, what does Niklaus see once he's through the hole in the floor?
Okay, so once you guys are down into the basement apartment, it looks similar to the other two apartments that you've been in. Similarly, as you can tell by the giant hole in its ceiling, it is in disrepair. This one has a little bit more furniture in it. It looks a little bit more lived in than the one upstairs. There's no concrete reason as to why it looks like there's more here. But the one upstairs was significantly more looted and sparse in concerns to furniture. So this one is a little more jam-packed. Anastasia leads you into a room off of that main room where you fell into. And she kind of leads you over to a little safe. Well, it's not little, it's a safe. And she pops in the code and the door opens. And she's got weapons in there. There are some weapons. And some supplies, some medical supplies and things like that. And she starts handing them out to you, to whoever's closest by, whoever wandered in behind her. And there's some bandages, pistol ammo. She hands up a box of shotgun ammo as well, and a second pistol.
Bambi would like the second pistol.
Yeah, so Anastasia is on the ground right now. She's just handing stuff up. So if Bambi is the first to grab it, then yes, Bambi can have the second pistol.
Bambi snatches it up, giggles to herself, and says, "Ooh, I'm a real Tommy boy now!" and like skimpers out of the room again.
Oh my god.
Okay, wait 1 second.
Holy crap. Thanks, Rowan. $25 donation. You can introduce an ally or an enemy NPC.
Are you really trying to give me an aneurysm?
Yes.
Oh,
This storage.
So this probably means something more to you, Vanessa, but Nikolai is there.
The weapon storage is run by weapons dealer Nikolai.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. Is he just like the woohoo guy in Frozen? He's like, big summer blowout.
He's an ally that helps that it takes care of the weapon storage and weapon stock.
Okay. You guys are throwing me curveballs constantly. Thank you. My improv skills are getting much better.
Okay.
All right. So Anastasia is in the middle of this is going to change the game later on. Thanks. Anastasia is crouched down in front of the safe and she's handing up pieces. So there's some bandages, some pistol ammo. She gives that second pistol to Bambi. And there's also shotgun ammo. While she's crouched down, one of the closed doors that leads into another room starts to rattle. And Anastasia immediately stands up. God, now I'm gonna have to do 2 Russian accents. Yes! Fantastic. Anastasia like shoots up from where she's standing and immediately has the pistol drawn from the side of her waistband, and points it towards the door. And the handle jiggles a little bit before opening, and a man steps out. and you guys can visibly see Anastasia relax. And she says something under her breath that isn't loud enough to hear, but then she calls a couple of words to this man in Russian. And the stoic look on his face kind of breaks into a smile. What she said does not sound particularly nice. I don't know if you guys know Russian. I used to know a little bit, but I don't anymore. But whatever she said doesn't sound like it was a, hey, how you doing, buddy? So
I would assume that since Pepper has had such a, I don't know, a wealthy upbringing, and if especially Russians are a huge part of this world, the world of Exodus, I imagine Pepper knows some of it. Plus, she has Russian wolfhounds. I can imagine she gives them orders in Russian or something.
I wouldn't say that Russian people are a large portion of the people here, or they weren't at any given time. But yeah, absolutely. If you want to be able to give your hounds commands in Russian, I'm not going to stop you.
That's what I was thinking. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, absolutely. Raven, were you just about to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like Niklaus might know Russian. You definitely know more than one language, I think, but I don't know for sure if it'd be Russian.
I could see Niklaus doing German.
Yeah, for German
Yeah.
for sure. But is there something that I could roll to see if he knows Russian?
Hold on to that thought.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll kind of talk that one out, I think, rather than roll for it. Seeing as there's no linguist perk here. Not like Annie trying to collect languages like Pokemon. So we'll discuss that one. But I mean,
yeah. If you want to talk about it, we are due for a break, aren't we?
Yes. So before we go, I will say that perhaps Niklaus knows enough to at least hear curse words and recognize them. So she calls him something that is not very nice, and he just smiles at her. So here comes this gentleman into the room, very very tall guy, super broad shouldered, looks like he could put a man's head in his arm and crush it, like, you know what I mean, like just big beefy dude. He looks a little worse for wear, same kind of tattered look that Anastasia has, but you know, he's not in rags or anything. He's just a little beat up. Really long brown hair pulled up into a bun at the back of his head, and a little scruffy around the edges. He's got some facial hair, but super super dazzling smile when Anastasia calls out to him and calls him something very rude. And his eyes kind of sparkle a little bit at that. And yeah, that's what we'll, oh my goodness, that is where we'll take a break for a little while and come back to
awesome.
it.
So we'll be back in about 10 minutes, give or take a minute or two. And in the meantime, go stretch your legs, grab a snack, hydrate, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll be right back. And we're back. We've managed
Awesome.
to climb down the hole.
That's been our big accomplishment so far this session. we got down the hole. Yeah, so
Going
before
places.
we well, that's debatable. Okay, so before break, we got down into the hole and we're pulling stuff out of the safe. And in walks this tall guy who Anastasia seems to recognize. So the tension leaves her. It gives you guys the signal that this is a friendly, not an enemy. Big, super big, hulking guy, very beefy. And yeah, she exclaims something not so nice at him in Russian.
Bambi's gonna like lean around her and be like, is this a good time to tell you that I don't know how to use a pistol?
I love her. I love her.
Meanwhile, Pepper's just like, that's a man.
Oh,
Is Pepper in love?
No. No, she just hasn't seen a guy in forever. And Nikolai doesn't count. Niklaus doesn't count.
Why does Niklas not count?
Because he's a fucking predator.
Oh my god. Just for clarification, we mean that she views him as a predator because she sees him as an animal.
No,
Not because
she sees him. She sees him as a man. I rolled for that. Sees Niklaus as a man, but gets very lion vibes from him.
predatory nature. How
Very
about that?
predatory nature.
I just felt like it was good to touch on that and just define that. Because a lion is a different kind of predator. So just perfect. So this guy comes in and he kind of takes a moment to look at each of you. And he seems very surprised at the sheer number of people. Clearly he's only used to seeing Anastasia. So he takes a moment to kind of like give you all a once over.
Bambi winks at him.
He seems to be immune to your charms, Bambi. He's not here for some kind of good time. He's here to survive.
She tries anyways.
Of course she does.
His eyes kind of land on Niklaus, and he gives you like a head to toe kind of scan and narrows his eyes again. That smile kind of fades off. It seems like the Russian twins here have it out for Niklaus. But yeah, then to Pepper, he doesn't show any sign of that same kind of cautiousness with Pepper, and then he looks at Sid, and then back to Anastasia, and he says, "Well, who are your friends?" And I don't know if. Oh, what happened? You good?
Oh yeah, I'm good. Rowan, your cat is starting shit down here.
Oh no. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
That's all right. I think they're both upstairs now, so just
Well, Glitch is here.
Send Glitch back down whenever Nero gets back up.
I see Nero. I've got an eye on both of them. But if I
Okay.
suddenly, yep. Yep.
Just
Okay. Nope. Glitch is chasing Nero. Bye. Right back.
Okay. I glance over and I see Nero, Rowan's cat, just out of nowhere, and then I see Glitch just laying there minding her own business. And then Nero's like, oh, "I'm just gonna, poke my nose in everything down here, right in front of Glitch." And Glitch is
it's
like,
free real estate.
Yeah, they don't get along very well.
Oh,
Uh,
Okay.
did you send
Okay,
Corpse
sorry.
back down?
Yes, I did.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Cat crisis averted. This man asks Anastasia who her friends are, and she kind of casts a glance back at you guys, like her expression kind of reads, I don't know if I'd call them friends.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's the kind of vibe she's giving off. But she's softened up. That some of that tension has left her, so she does seem a little more friendly now. And she points to Pepper and to Bambi. And she says, well, these two are from here. Just happened to pick them up on the way. And then she nods her chin at Niklaus and Sid, and then back to the man, and she says, these ones are topsiders. And the shock registers on his face for a moment, and he crosses his arms over his chest, and he kind of strides forward a little bit, and does like a little round as far as their space, kind of walks back and forth to do another look up and down Sid and Niklaus. And that wariness is there. Like, clearly they have not seen people from Topside in a very long time. As you could probably have guessed from the SOS signal, that they were looking for people to help, but they didn't expect people to be there. So this occasion is very, very different for them. And although they were looking for that help to begin with, it's still very it's very curious, but also a cause for a little bit of concern to have people that you don't know down here. Because at least down here, you know who's trying to kill you. And
Right.
Unfortunately, they don't have that luxury to know for sure what these topsiders are. So he does also look a little bit cautious, and it kind of mirrors that first attitude that Anastasia had. But he drops his arms from his chest, and he holds out a hand to shake Niklaus's hand.
Niklaus is just like standing there inspecting his nails, looking unimpressed, until he offers a handshake, and then Niklaus will sort of just nod to the guy and shake his hand and say, Niklaus Sebastian Adama, nice to meet you.
This man's handshake is very, very firm. It's one of those handshakes that you can tell, like, if he decided to squeeze, he could probably break some of the little bones in your hand. Like, he's a beefy guy. And then he nods, and he takes his hand back, and then he extends it over to Sid to shake her hand too. And how tall is Sid again?
Sid, let me see if I wrote it down. I did not write it down. I'd say how tall is Sid? How do you all picture her?
I either see her as on the short side or like absurdly tall.
How old is she again?
Between
15 to 17. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see like a 5'2". Shorty
I'd say
people.
a bit taller than that.
Heights are always one of my favorite parts of character building, and I have no idea why. But I always have to know, what are your characters' heights? Like, where are we sitting right now?
I always liked that
always-
size difference with you.
I do, yeah, I really do.
I always picture Sid as like looking kind of like one of the newsies, and like the
Same.
middle height ones.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, maybe like 5'2" then. Right?
Okay, what about the rest of you guys?
Oh, Bambi's
Just out of
short as
curiosity.
fuck. She looks like a child most of the time.
Bambi's how short then? Like 5'2" as well?
Yeah, Bambi's like 5 foot or 5'2". Like, she's really tiny.
I take it back.
Niklaus
Sid is
is-
probably around 5 foot.
Oh goodness.
Oh,
God.
goodness.
Niklaus is like 6'1" and skinny.
Oh God. I think Pepper's 5'7" ish.
We'll
Okay,
do- Bambi at 5'5" then.
Okay,
Just
I got rid of the Tumblr app off my phone when I updated. I was gonna go see what exactly height that I had in for Nikolai, but I Rowan, he was like what, somewhere between 6'4" and 6'7".
He was gigantic.
He was a big guy.
I mean, let's make it a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, so I'd say he's probably somewhere around between 6 foot and 6'2".
So you stand about the same height as Niklaus.
Yes. So he he kind of glances over to Sid and extends his hand, to which he has to extend it downward considerably more than when he shook hands with Niklaus.
Is Bambi still leaning on Sid?
no, Bambi has like kind of like propped herself up against a wall because she was going to shoot the new guy, but then she realized she doesn't know how to use her gun.
So Sid will follow Niklaus's lead and just kind of shake this person's hand, kind of aloof.
Seeing this kind of like aloofness, this refusal to really give much else, the man shakes your hand, Sid, and then quickly gives you a little wink, and drops your hand, and then looks between you and Niklaus and just says, "Well, you can call me Belikov."
And I'm Pepper.
Bambi is just like, she has like that dumbfounded, slack-jawed look on her face of just like, hubba hubba.
Again, I reiterate, Belikov does not seem ensnared by your charms.
That's fine. She is, in fact, charmed. But let's be real.
Pepper,
she's charmed by everybody.
It's true.
Very true.
Any male.
Yep.
But Pepper's kind of like slung, like she had pulled out the elephant rifle, and the dogs were like by her heels. Mm-hmm. But now they've kind of relaxed and sat down, and she's like slinging the rifle back on her shoulder, and she's like, I'm Pepper. Oh, are you just shaking for the surface? Oh, sorry.
No, he looks at you and he's just like, "Nice to meet you, Pepper." And then he kind of crouches down a little bit and gives the dogs like a little scritch on the head and stands back up. And Anastasia is still in that stance where she has her arms crossed across her chest, like she's not taking too kindly to having been surprised and almost shot her friend. But he turns to her and kind of smiles a little bit, and then becomes a little more serious and says, "So what is it that you're looking for? What can I help you with?" And she drops her arms again, Anastasia, and says, we're here to grab as many weapons as we can, and then we're going to head over to the fancy apartments and grab some supplies from Pepper's apartment as well, and then I think it's just about time we make a solid game plan and figure out how we get ourselves out of here. And Belikov looks thoughtful for a moment, and then looks over the little ragtag team you have here and sighs through his nose and says, "Well, good luck to you all. I think you're going to need it." But then he leaves the room momentarily, not from the direction that he came in from, but one of the other adjacent rooms, and comes back with a shotgun, which he hands to Anastasia. And Anastasia takes it from him and then looks at the other members of her group, and hands the pistol to Niklaus. I almost said Nikolai again. She hands the pistol to Niklaus, and Belikov looks at her and lifts an eyebrow and says, "How heavy duty are you going to go today?" And she gives the most dramatic sigh. She's like, "Bring out the big guns." And Niklaus disappears again, and he comes back with a flamethrower. And the only person who seems to be not in possession of any good weapons at the moment is Sid, right? Sid, you don't really have much.
Mm-hmm.
So he brings this flamethrower over and stands it next to you, and it's quite the size. And he just
that gun is as tall as they are.
Sid, he looks down at you and just kind of smiles. As if like, are we really gonna give the flamethrower to the kid? Like, what's going on here?
Can I roll strength to see how well Sid picks it up as if it's no big deal?
Yes.
Showing off.
I'm gonna quickly do a Google search.
That's 21.
So
Oh boy.
flamethrowers in World War II weighed 72 pounds. Because my understanding of a flamethrower is that it has like the fuel source, right? So you'd have to strap the fuel source on somewhere. And then of course the actual flamey part. I'm gonna say that for ease, we are not dealing with a World War II flamethrower. Perhaps something a little bit sleeker that was developed during the Civil War for a certain side of the Civil War teams, I suppose. And this one's smaller and more compact and easier for Sid to carry. So not 72 pounds. Sid, yes, you are able to handle this thing. Not as if it's light as a feather, but you're sturdy with it. It's small enough that you can carry it around, you can use it. It's not gonna like topple you over or anything like that. So you're good to go.
Is it a mini flamethrower or a macro lighter?
And that is a good question. I guess that depends on how prideful Sid is. If Sid doesn't want her pride hurt, then it's a flamethrower. But yeah, it's decent enough. I'm just looking at photos of flamethrowers to try and get an idea, because God knows I've never ever handled a flamethrower. I don't know. These things look like Nerf guns.
There's surprisingly not a lot to them. I've never held one either, but I am familiar with how they work.
Yeah, my main, like, the first thing that comes to mind is like the older ones where you have to carry the fuel source with you, which I'm seeing photos of. But they seem to be like super heavy duty guys. And then there are the smaller ones that are easy to hold, and they're more like appropriately gun sized. So I'm gonna go with the more appropriately gun sized ones.
I have literally seen some that are made from super soakers, modified super soakers. So it's
excellent.
Possible.
So
I've
yes,
seen
all
ones
right.
that are handmade.
That's what we're gonna do then, Sid. We're not gonna topple you over with a 72-pound flamethrower. This thing it's like, I would say maybe the size of like a rifle or something like that. Probably a little bit heavier, obviously, because there are more components to it. but you don't have to like strap a fuel tank on you or anything like that. It's all built in, and you're good to go. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Okay, so you now are in possession of a flamethrower, and you can thank Alex for that one.
Thanks.
So yeah, Nikolai, well, you don't know his name is Nikolai, but Belikov hands this off to you, and steps away from you. And yeah, Anastasia kind of steps to the side for a moment to have a quick hushed discussion with him. They're not speaking English, so for Niklaus and maybe Pepper, a spare word here and there you can pick up, but it's just a hushed conversation, and they're not plotting to kill you as far as you can tell. So you guys are good.
So Pepper actually interrupts, and she's like, so as long as we're getting supplies, would you happen to have, well, Abel, maybe?
Nikolai Belikov kind of he thinks about it for a second, and then he disappears again into the room that he just came from with the shotgun for Anastasia and the flamethrower. And he brings out a small bag, and you can hear the clinking of bottles inside it, and he opens it up and pulls up with his thumb and forefinger a tiny bottle that has a blue substance in it for you, and he hands it to you. And yeah, so you can add that to your inventory. It's a small vial of Able, and that is good for a full replenishment of a plasmid. So as soon as you run out, you can consume that, and it will refill your plasmid meter.
Bambi is the saddest.
What?
Bambi is just the saddest over there. Just sad face, like, oh, I want some.
Yeah.
Does she actually speak up?
She tries to, but instead she sort of stutters. And then she gets really red in the face, and then she goes and sits in the corner.
I think Niklaus will speak up and just point at the Able and say, what exactly is that?
It's Pepper actually looks at Belikov, and then looks at Anastasia. It's special soda for she's looking at them like, help. Like, should I tell him, or?
Anastasia is the one who steps in, and she says, so you remember when we talked about this substance that was addictive for the citizens here?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we did have a team of, I suppose it depends on how you look at it, but highly skilled geneticists and scientists that worked here. And over time, they were able to modify these strains of cane and develop them into abilities that could be used. And, this was one of the major draws for people who had the cane, and they wanted to be able to use these powers. So unfortunately, they only have limited use. And this little blue liquid is what is able to replenish the uses of that superpower. So when people run out of it, you pop back one of these suckers and you're good to go.
And it's probably a bad idea if you run low on it, because then things can start getting a little weird. Just, yeah.
Yes.
Anastasia looks like she's uncomfortable. Obviously, if the party is going to be together like this, some of them are plasmid users. So she knows that this is a discussion that's necessary. I mean, probably not the most necessary, but she knows that it's something that's obviously going to come up sooner or later. It's still uncomfortable for her to have to say it, though, because she doesn't like the idea of having to give more and more information to these people who have just gotten here, because the point is not to inform people about what's causing addiction and the need to get out of here. She just wants to get out of here, and she feels that maybe perhaps, especially after Niklaus Niklaus. Oh my God, there's so many Niklauses and Nikolais and all this stuff. I'm getting confused.
Belikov.
Yeah. No, but when Niklaus kind of said, "Oh, well, we'll bring people in here to study it," that kind of made her really nervous too. So now she's kind of hesitant to really say much of anything. But obviously, this is a conversation that came up on its own, so she had to go with it. Yeah.
Fascinating. I would love to see a small sample of that sometime if you spare
Abel?
a small amount.
Anastasia bites back and she's like, "Yes, I'm sure you would."
Unless this is no longer a place where science is welcome.
It kind of isn't.
Oh, but it kind of is, Bambi says. And she says, what's the harm in giving him a bit of Abel if he hasn't had Cain yet?
Precisely.
Because Bambi doesn't know anything.
Anastasia looks like she doesn't have a specific argument for that. And it looks like it bothers her that she doesn't have an argument to counteract that. So she nods to Belikov and he hands over a small vial of blue liquid.
Excellent. I shall see if I can discover how this works and if it can be easily replicated, so that your friends.
I mean, do you got any worms?
Won't have that problem. The idea is to synthesize it, not rely on previous production methods which have proven to have unforeseen side effects.
So the Abel itself is not, it's not a strain of Cain. So it's not the worms themselves that produce the Abel. From what you know, like obviously there's, you know, the geneticists know the most about it, but from what you can tell, it's pretty much the Abel is just a mixture of different like elements, so like sugars, electrolytes, all that good stuff that kind of act as like a base booster for the Cain. And it's that kind of thing that kind of powers up whatever plasmid it is that you're using. So it's not exactly it's basically I know what you're gonna say. Basically, it's like an energy drink. Yes, but with more.
It's special Gatorade.
Pretty much, yep. But I mean, there's I have to preface this with there's not a whole lot of in-depth science on these substances on the internet, so I'm going with what I have.
That's totally fine. It just makes me.
Yes, but for us, yes, it's pretty much Powerade with special things in it. But
I imagine
sure
there's probably like a little
bit
of like Cain or something that has come from Cain.
Yeah, so something that would interact with the Cain itself. That's not just like, oh, we're gonna dump white sugar in this.
Like
so there
something
is
that comes
science
from the worms or
yeah,
something.
there is some science behind it, and you can get Abel from other sources of food and things like that. But yeah.
Vanessa.
Yeah.
Sugar comes from sugar cane.
Oh, fuck you.
All right, and that's where we conclude our episode today. I'm kidding.
Just out.
No, Niklaus is going to take it with a nod of thanks and start inspecting it as much as he can, just standing around.
Yeah. I don't suppose there's much he can do with it right off the bat without tools or anything like that. But yeah, it's just a little vial of blue liquid. It's got, it's no different consistency. There's, might be a little bit thicker than water, but other than that, it's not anything special on its own from what you can see. But yeah, so we have Bambi has a pistol, Anastasia has her shotgun. We've given the flamethrower, courtesy of Alex, to Sid. And then Niklaus has the second pistol, yeah?
That
Yep.
does D6.
The pistol does D6, yeah. And then Pepper
And-
has their hunting rifle, the elephant gun.
Yeah, she
And
has her
6
own
shots?
rifle.
6 shots, yeah.
And-
So, go ahead.
She actually once things are like toned down and everyone is kind of assigned stuff, if we figured that out, sort of, she kind of looks at Belikov and is like, so you're I haven't seen a guy around in forever.
And Bambi just
Human.
gives her like a look from across the room that's like, what the fuck are you on?
Niklaus just mutters to no one in particular, "Oh dear God, she's discovered puberty."
Like, there's just animals, and he's a predator, so it's not a
Back to the joke at hand. Belikov just looks at Niklaus like, what the fuck, dude?
Niklaus looks at Pepper like, "What the fuck?" And then shrugs at Belikov?
Belikov, yeah.
Yeah, just sort of shrugs like, "I have no idea."
Belikov kind of straightens up a little bit. He's not quite sure what predator means. I mean, he has some ideas, but he's not sure which is correct. So he's a little bit alarmed. And then he glances over at Sid in a way that's like, blink twice if you're in trouble. But he stares really hard at Sid for a second.
Sid sits there for a second, just like, and then something flashes across her eyes, and she just like hides the flamethrower behind her back. Like, you gave this to me, you can't have it back.
Belikov just rolls his eyes and takes that as a sign that clearly things are okay for the moment. So he's not going to say anything. But yeah, so oh my gosh, this is gonna happen quite frankly. Niklaus, that one. You have the pistol. You also have a box of ammo to go with it.
Oh, sweet. How many shots in the box?
There are like, how many are in a box? I don't know. You can have 20.
Okay.
You can have, it's a full box of ammo. You can have 20 rounds in there.
Does Bambi also score a box of ammo?
So Bambi would have, yeah, I would say they have enough in the safe in their stores that Bambi gets a box as well.
Yay.
It is up to her to tell someone that she needs help learning how to shoot it. If you shoot someone else, they will leave you behind. I can tell you that much. Anastasia takes a box of ammo with her shotgun, which they have enough of. Pepper, what kind of ammo does your gun take? Is it like specific kind of ammo? Do we have
I would
it?
assume it's like shotgun ammo.
Well, we're early in the game, so let's just say everybody gets the proper box of ammo that they need.
Or heck, it might just be metal balls because it's so old fashioned.
Very true.
So maybe she just wants gunpowder.
Yeah, so they have like different components and stuff. I know that like when we started searching around and stuff like that, components were a thing that you guys started picking up. So we'll say that with the components that you pick up along the way, you'll be able to craft what you need.
Yeah, so she actually like probably like I don't know, fills her powder horn full of gunpowder.
So does that mean that Pepper has to have the balls to shoot that gun?
You
I
bet.
don't know. Okay, so everybody is all ammoed up.
Equipped.
We are equipped with some weapons now, which is great. How are you guys doing for like bandages and stuff? Because they do have a couple of those, not a lot. Like this is primarily a weapon stash. What do you guys have right now?
I have one roll of bandages.
I have none.
None.
I should probably grab something like that, considering I'm supposed to be a doctor.
Yeah, I should grab some too.
Well, what topside perks did you choose, Raven?
Where are they? Have a bad feeling about this, and educated, which was a +3 to medicine.
Yeah. I would say that in the plethora of suitcases that you brought, that as you are from topside, you would have brought a med kit with you. So you do have a med kit. And Sid, you do have 2 bandages that were also stuck in with the extra supplies. And then Bambi, you said you had a roll of bandages?
Yep.
And Pepper, nothing, right?
Yeah, all she has is like a whole bunch of different weapons and things.
Okay. So they do give you the last thing that they have is like a half bed kit, so they'll hand that to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Anastasia has a little bag of tools and stuff that she carries on her back. So she's had this with her ever since you met her. She has like a little knapsack on. And inside that little knapsack is different like tools and stuff that she would have taken from Blumenthal's office, which could very well be useful to you in the future. So she, as a nurse, always has that with her, which she shows to you. Like she lets you guys know. Oh, cat, what are you doing? She lets you know that she has that just in case there's ever a point where you guys need to use it. It's just a small knapsack with tools in it. All right, so now that you guys have everything you need to go, Anastasia says a quick goodbye to Belikov, and she turns to you guys and she says, okay. Pepper, did you want to go back to your apartment to grab some supplies for yourself?
Well, I'm just thinking, my papa, he had a really good chessboard if we wanted to make a plan. Like, I mean, Papa always said that any hunt was basically a game of chess.
Bambi like hardcore snickers and is just like, you think chess is going to get us from this bottom rung low level to the next stage and escape this?
Well, yes.
No. Chess isn't going to help you. What are you going to do with chess
It's
pieces?
strategy and...
She touts the pistol like she knows what she's doing.
Oh, wait, don't put your finger on the trigger. Don't.
Completely
No.
not obeying trigger safety or
No.
gun safety. And she's like, guns are what's going to get us from here until there.
Besides, we already had to leave the chessboards back at the place with the submarine.
I mean, Papa has more stuff than that. Imagine, like, You want food? There's
I could
food.
go for some food.
Um,
But I am watching my figure. Do you have more able?
no. Well, no.
Then where would
No.
we go?
That's not food.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, we need able.
So
I mean,
at
there's
this point,
vending machines there.
Anastasia is pinching the bridge of her nose again. So she says, "All right, let us go. Let us go to the apartments for your grandfather's stuff, Pepper. And I have had some success before, scrounging up some better items in the apartments, the luxury apartments that are locked. So
Yes, exactly.
it would put me a little more at ease if we had some better supplies. And I feel a little more comfortable going through the apartments with extra help. There are some specific spots that I was avoiding just because I didn't want to do them by myself. So I think that perhaps we could get something useful out of it.
And I mean, if anything, then it's a place on that side of town, of the city, that is safer. So we can Papa's apartment is definitely a place to regroup.
And what about the rest of you? How does that sound?
That's fine, I suppose.
He's
Very well.
got lots of fancy things there.
I mean, fancy does sound nice.
He was very rich.
Ooh, now you're talking my language. Does he have genuine leather anything?
Yes. Our couches.
Like squealing.
Our couches are leather.
I am going to take the leather off of those couches and make myself a new pair of heels.
But
Not like she knows how to do anything like that.
the couches are but well, okay. And I mean, there's a fur rug, real fur.
Oh, I need a new fur coat. I need a new
Niklas
dress.
is gonna just once again put an arm around Bambi's shoulder and head and be like, once we do get topside, I'll have to take you shopping.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
So, Papa's apartment.
Yes, let's go.
I guess it's a good place as any to start. And then
So,
we can... Yeah.
Pepper looks at Anastasia and like, you're welcome. I convinced her.
Anastasia just kind of looks at the ceiling, like she might be prey. Please, whoever is listening, give me the strength.
To get through this.
But yeah, she says, well, that sounds like as good a place as any to sit down and figure out the game plan. There are some things that we're going to need to get before we can make our way to, well, I guess the, God, what is the word for them?
Escape?
Escape pods. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Exit. Okay. Before we make our way to the escape pods.
Or the Exodus pods.
And then Pepper's like, what about the men back there? Is he not gonna be coming?
I'm sure
Pepper's
he
so
will.
thirsty.
No,
Really?
she's concerned. She's just concerned.
Yeah, concern, a specific type of concern. Anastasia says he will be joining us a little bit later.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sure he will be useful to us as well. And naturally, I would like to see him alive. So there might be room in the escape pod for him. I don't know. We'll see. And there's laughter
Wait.
from the other room.
Wait. There's the cane that makes the shrinks things, right? Right? We could make him small. He could fit in my pocket.
Yeah, in your pocket. Great. Now, see, that would be an innocent statement, except for we've also had the discussion of using your boobs as a pocket. So that raises some questions for me.
No, Pepper's not used boobs as a pocket. That is straight up. That's straight up a Bambi thing.
Okay, so last thing then, before we call it a night, everybody gets all their stuff together. You guys go towards the front. Anastasia leads you toward the front door. This is the door that leads out into the hallway. And the structure is much the same as the apartments from above, so you can recognize that this is the way out. It's set up exactly the way the other apartments were. So you go towards the door, and Anastasia presses her ear to the door to see if there's anything immediately outside. And then she pokes her head out and looks up and down the hall again, and opens the door, and she stays by the door as you guys file out next to her, and she puts her arm out to motion for you to stay close to the wall, and she just kind of like hushes you to be quiet, but she motions for you to stay close to the walls. And you quickly see why, as when you guys finally come out into the hallway, you hear from the other end of the hall whistling. And it's just a tuneless kind of little ditty. You don't see anybody yet, but you hear the whistling as it approaches. And then as you're looking down, there is a turret that senses through motion that somebody is coming, and a splicer comes around the corner. And if there wasn't a turret there, then he would probably see you. But as he rounds the corner and doesn't see that the turret has activated by motion, he is gunned down by this thing, just absolutely unapologetically brutal. And Anastasia looks directly at Bambi with a look that, if looks could kill. And she says, "You are going to have to be quiet and keep your feet in line. Do you hear me?"
Bambi looks down at her precious red patent leather heels, tippy taps her toes, and just nods.
I swear
Like
to God.
a scolded child.
Anastasia is still looking at her very intensely, and she goes, "I swear to God, if you get yourself shot by a turret, I am going to leave you there. Do you understand me?" Good. Let's go. And she starts leading you guys down the hall. Oh, go ahead.
Niklaus just looks at Anastasia and goes, turrets. Very dangerous. You go first.
Anastasia rolls her eyes and she's like, "Why, thank you."
And Pepper leans back towards Bambi. It's like, don't worry. I wouldn't just leave you. My dogs would probably eat you. But then you don't have to suffer.
Bambi just looks at Pepper and looks at the dog, and there's like this almost like a flash of indignant anger on her face, and she says, "Your dogs would make a beautiful fur coat too."
What?
Nothing.
Not to worry,
Suddenly-
dear Miss Darling. You did get shot by a turret. I would do my best to patch you up.
Suddenly, Bambi is Cruella de Vil. Like, what?
Yep.
Yep.
Ma'am, I'm gonna have to ask you to calm down.
I would like to remind you that Bambi is a little fixated on Vixen and is prone to bouts of terror, like terror is in like I am the terror and anger.
God, Bambi, you're awfully concerned with Vixen. What, do you have a crush on her or something?
No! Not at all. Bambi doesn't like Vixen one bit. Maybe a little bit.
It's like the incredible tension between two nemesi in a in a show where it's like, dude, are we about to kiss?
Yes, it's just like that.
Pepper
Not
does
gonna
respond,
lie.
and she's like, if my puppies die, then I guess you could have their fur.
Bambi's thunder just leaves. She's like, no, that was supposed to make you angry. And she just walks out with everybody else.
Does anybody notice that Anastasia has already started walking down the hall?
No, Pepper's coming.
Yeah,
Bambi does as soon as she
following.
walks out the room.
Okay, so you guys are making your way down the hall in the opposite direction of the turret. And that's where we'll end off tonight.
Awesome.
awesome.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see what headache you guys are going to cause me next week. That'll be great. Is it
Yeah,
going to
we
be a new
got you.
NPC? We'll figure it out, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, that was fantastic. Before we go on a raid, let's go around and we'll say what our favorite part was, give everybody a chance to talk about where we can find them next and everything, and then we'll go on a raid. So let me know in chat what you would like our raid cry to be while we do that. And let's start with Vanessa. What was your favorite part? Where can we find you next? And anything else you want to share?
My favorite part was probably Bambi yeeting herself down the hole. Like, just no concern for bodily harm, just straight down the hole. I just love that Bambi is seemingly so unaware of things. And I don't know if maybe that will turn out to be useful later down the line, or maybe just make me cry a lot. But as her name suggests, she's absolutely darling, and I love her very much. But I'm also very excited to see how the group kind of continues to interact together. I'm very fond of these characters already, and well, I sure hope that nothing bad happens to them. That would suck. But as for where you can find me next, we're good for Saturday, right, Raven? We're actually going to come back.
Yeah, Saturday
Awesome.
For Animus, yes.
Yes, so you can find me there. I will be playing one of the many pink-haired crewmates of the Lagrange, and I will be playing Annie. So check in there. Yeah, that's it for me.
Fantastic. And then next, Riley, what was your favorite part? Where can we find you? And anything else you'd like to share?
My favorite part was the little sister voice. That was my favorite part. Like, that was awesome.
I'm glad you guys are enjoying my voices, because I'm going with the flow on those.
No,
They're great.
It was awesome. But I'm loving getting to know all of the characters and to see like how they all interact. Pepper and Bambi are adorable. And just Niklaus is just a very like mwah, like just that it adds a whole different element, and I love it. And then you can find me next on Saturday for Animus as well. And you can find me everywhere online at Ariel Nitz.
Fantastic. And then Rowan, what was your favorite part? Where can we find you next? Anything else you'd like to share?
So hi, I'm Rowan North. I'm a freelance illustrator. You'll find me next week. I think my favorite part was goodness. I mean, making you scramble to put Nikolai in. I definitely felt like Nikolai did give, or Belikov as we're calling him, it definitely gave flavor that I think like a homely flavor to this situation that I think would have been missing otherwise. Sorry, as my cat crawls all over me. I did like that, and then yes, Bambi waving the pistol, and like
Look,
I don't,
guys.
and just immediately Pepper's panic, like no, don't hold the trigger, don't hold the trigger. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Anything else you want to share?
not that I can think of.
All right. We'll pass it on over to Yasmin. What was your favorite part? Where can we find you next? And anything else you'd like to share?
I really liked the change of behavior with Sid at the beginning, where suddenly they were all like, "Yeah, let's help you out. I'm happy to be of service." Just like makes me wonder. So I really enjoyed that. You can find me next. You can find me next on Friday running Neon Devils, or at Twitter or my website. Tomorrow is the last day for my coupon sale on my website, blah, blah, blah. And I look forward to seeing you Friday. I'm so bad at this part.
It's all right. My favorite part, it's hard to pick just one. I did really enjoy, as some folks may have picked up on, I really enjoyed playing Klaus playing Niklaus. That was a lot of fun. I'm really excited to let him out a little bit more. So that was a highlight. But yeah, all of the voice acting from Vanessa was just amazing. And the shenanigans just trying to get down the freaking hole.
I guarantee you by the end of this campaign, y'all are going to be sick of hearing me trying to do a Russian accent.
Not sick yet. I fucking love it.
Now we have 2 Russian characters. So.
I'm here for it. Yeehaw.
Oh my gosh, that looks amazing, Yaz. Sorry, I just saw artwork in our Discord. That looks so good.
Thanks.
I think, yeah, that's my favorite part. Where you can find me next will be tomorrow at 4 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Encounter Roleplay for the finale of Sword of Kalos. There's going to be epic spaceship battles and lots of cool stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. And then Friday, I will also be on Neon Devils with Yasmin. So yeah, that's all of that. And then as for other things to share, be sure to check out Patreon. Let me, get that into chat. There's new artwork and things like that are happening much more frequently now. So the high resolution versions are always put into Patreon for patrons. You can also download the soundtracks for some different shows this season, such as Animus and Hunters of Calamity 2, and a lot of other cool stuff. And it is immensely helpful for supporting the channel and making sure I can continue to do all the things that we do here. So there's that. Also, you can check out my Twitter. It's right below my face here. There's new Hunters of Calamity merch that's out now. That's pretty fun. And aside from that, that's pretty much all I can think of at the moment. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. We're going to go on a raid So be sure to have your raid cry ready, which is I'll just eat myself down this hole. And then we're going to go raid Super Dylan. They're playing Dragon Age Origins. So pretty cool person and a great game. So give them a follow if you're not doing so already. And I will see you all tomorrow. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.